All right. Good morning. Good morning. Happy Tuesday. Let's get everything set up here. How we doing? How we doing? All right. That. We got that. Good morning. Good morning. All right. NASDAQ. What a move yesterday. My goodness. Late day rally. Late day rally yesterday. Big RVol. Some news there, right? Looking at the technicals. Change that. Okay, that's a little better. Yeah, looking at the technicals. Near term sideways range. Essentially call that right there the range for the most part. Near term range anyway. Past how many days is it? This is like going on 2 or 3 weeks now. Yeah, just right here. Just daily time frame barcode, right? Just nonstop sideways. Sunday night, we get the gap lower that shows continuation lower until 24K is tested. And then the next couple of bars quickly reclaim the low. Now, whether you're calling this the low or this the low or even this the low, to me does not really matter. This is all support zone, right? Buyers have responded favorably in that zone. So we get a look beneath the low, a quick reclaim. We know that to be the spring setup, higher time frame spring setup. And so that shows a continuation during the early morning session, during the regular trading hour session yesterday. And then into the afternoon, we get the big news move. Where is price now? Well, it's almost into the highs of this near-term range, right? So yesterday, higher time frame spring setup, our analysis for the day was pretty much spot on. But like I always say, analysis and execution are two very, very, very different things. They are, I don't want to say they're a world apart because you need one to have the other, but you can be great at analysis and still not have an entry based on how price actually develops. You could be great at analysis and still have an entry and still be terrible with the execution as well. So just because you get the higher time frame right does not mean that the intraday, the execution is going to follow through with your actual end of day trading results. Keep that in mind. Always keep that in mind. Now, for this morning, I pretty much just want to see if sellers are going to step in and defend this area of resistance. We have crossed the entirety of the near term structure in one session, right? Yesterday's session crossed the entire structure. So the question now is, are sellers going to continue to defend this little area, this point right through here? Are we going to see a continuation maybe into last week's high? What are we going to be looking at? If sellers do step in versus either 25K or 25,100, I would expect an inside day. On the flip side of that, if we do see a continuation of yesterday's move, I'll be looking for last week's high, see how price responds there, and then maybe up into the 400 area, bunch of resistance up in this 400 area. Of note, the year to date volume point of control did shift lower at some point yesterday, so it's now at about 840, right? You got the February volume point of control right near 860 as well. So there's a lot of volume as you would expect, right through here, right in that 800, 850 area. So let's see how this morning unfolds off the open. Main watch is going to be 25K, and then the prior day high as our nearest significant levels. See the 30 as we get into the open. Yeah, there we go. Okay. All right. All right. 1,000 points from overnight low. Wow. Monster. Monster move. Let's see it. Yeah. 1,100 even. There's our open. NASDAQ coming into prior day high. Prior day high is 58. 58. 58. Almost there. And looking above, price already looking above prior day high. So let's see. Question, as always, as price comes into overnight high or prior day high, is price gonna kind of look above and then show an up thrust, or we're gonna see an actual break? Typically, what I would like to see in this scenario is a clean move above, so a good extension, and then the pullback and retest. The break and retest. We've been trading a lot of those recently. Good old break and retest. Critique watching 840. Yeah, good level through there. Definitely. As of right now, though, that is quite a bit lower. Quite a bit lower. I think oil yesterday I was reading had the second largest 1 day move on record. First largest being that day it went negative. Probably a lot of you weren't trading when that happened, but platform that I run APT on, my funded futures. Okay, NQ, a little consolidation here near the prior day high. Consolidation station. Rolling over a little bit. So a little look above the prior day high so far. There's a high volume node right here from yesterday afternoon. And back in a 25K. So nice little up thrust there. If you were fast, if you were quick with it. Now we want to see, does 25K hold? Does that hold as support? Forgot to check the 10 a.m. data. Yeah, we do have a 10 a.m. data print. Existing home sales coming up this morning. Watching 25K. Another test of 25K. NQ coming into session lows. Almost a new low of day right there. ES already marking a fresh low. I like the bounce right here. Kind of aggressive. We'll see. See if we start the day with an L. Mm. Volume light. Light volume to start the morning. Below average. Oh, we're on the higher time frame here. There we go. Look at that volume. And stop just beneath the low on my 25K long setup. So beneath that, I'll really be hands off till 860 for the next bounce opportunity. Volume's actually 50% on average right now. Yesterday, QQQ, the low, just nearly tested the 200-day moving average. I don't know if anyone looks at QQQ ever. Personally, I don't. I just happened to come across that chart. How I guess an average volume spike the last few days throws off the average. Yeah, that's definitely accurate. It's definitely a good assessment. The tool I use is a 5-day look back. So if the past, handful of days have been extra high and then you start to normalize again, it's going to look very low. That is true. Currently showing about 1K ish, just eyeballing it. What is that? Yeah, 1.2K contracts per 1 minute bar. What a tease this thing. Chop, Chop City. Let's see our friends over at RTY. RTY, nothing happening there either. Low volume. Same with YM. YM pretty much mirroring. And ES, actually ES the weakest of them all. The S&P. There's a stop. Took the stop. 0 for 1. Start the morning. The idea there is 25K bounce per plan. See if that ends up being a spring. That would be unfortunate. A little shakeout. What I'll look for now is 860, down into 860. Show me that 860 overnight low area. There's your new low of day. ES as well with the fresh low. And just about into yesterday's close. Insignificant gap this morning, though. Basically a non-gap. Opening 15-minute bar should be getting ready to close up in 2 minutes here. Potentially with a shooting star. Get all that resistance in this area. So now looking at this 15-minute, to see this zone right there here. So notice price bouncing from pretty much the exact gap fill level right there. Here's prior day close, very light gray level on my chart. A little gap fill and nice bounce on some volume as well. Back into some intraday resistance here. $25,040. Some seller sitting right there. See that spot? Wow, that bounce saved the that bounce saved the 15-minute candle, didn't it? Amazing. Oh yeah, PJ, just saw that. Just saw that. Gotta love it. The stick save. Another rejection there at 40. See, does 25K hold this time? Does it hold this time? Pretty much same idea as before. That's prior day high. I gotta bring this a little lower. One tick before prior day high. Rich well save. Yeah, that 15-minute. I mean, that's why I always say never do candlestick analysis prior to the candle closure. Oh, here comes my stop again. So if this trade gets stopped, I'll be done till 10 per my rule. 2 stops pre 10 a.m. and I'm done till post 10. With the choppy morning. At least we have some levels though. Yesterday morning, no levels. Just sitting and waiting. And that second PT right there is the prior day high. Robin, at least APT hit TP2 on YM. Let's see. I don't watch that thing intraday. Yeah. Wow. Look at that short. Anything on NQ? Nothing on NQ. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. Oh, wrong screen. My bad. So there's APT, autopilot trader with the YM short. It's a clean entry. Second profit target already hit. Yeah, I try not to watch it intraday because it distracts me from my own trading. So I have all the bells off, all the alerts turned off. I just check it at the end of the day. Howie, market pop yesterday on Trump saying war was almost over and G7 talking about meeting to discuss reserve releases. I don't see any update on the reserve release discussion. Yeah, I've not seen anything on that. Although I'm not following that closely. So I try not to get too heavily in the headlines personally when it comes to trading. Clouds my judgment a bit. Ultimately, my edge is based on price action. So just got to follow what price shows me. Bias to the downside. Well, we are in a resistance zone, so that would check out. That would definitely check out. As of right now, though, there's a sideways morning. We'll see if post 10 a.m. resolves this tight range here, tight intraday range. Nasdaq volume remains below average. Just eyeballing it about maybe 60%. 60% of the average. Oil is down another 7% this morning. Currently trades at 88. For any CL traders, anyone trade CL? Anyone messing around with CL or MCL? What time will the new macro open due to summertime? I have no idea what you're asking. I have no idea what any of that means. PJ, no experience, so that's got to be the super deep end of the pool right now. Yeah, I hear that. Yeah, you don't want to jump into something you're unfamiliar with trading. And here's the stop on trade number 2. So tried 2 longs at 25K, both stopped out. Thankfully, the second one we got a partial off. So 0 for 2 on the morning. And now I wait till post 10 a.m. Post 10. 24,860, Gabe. Yeah, I like that level with overnight low just beneath. 860 by 830. I like that area. Three minutes till 10. And NASDAQ fresh lows. ES fresh lows as well. Pretty choppy start to the morning. Look at the volume below average. Good old fashioned barcode. Fresh lows again. Here we go. Let's see if this thing opens up. And here comes 10 a.m., 20 seconds. All righty. So post 10, price in no man's land. I'm either looking at action above 25K or down into 860, 830. There's your 10 a.m. print. Fresh lows. Here we go. Good uptick in volume. Love to see that. Bring on the volume. Bring on that volume. So far, there's a pretty straightforward inside day. 50% retrace of yesterday's move is 24,700. And look at that 30. Much better volume than what we've seen so far this morning. But until we have some better trade location, not much to do right here. So rejection of extended hours volume point of control. Value area low. So like I said, either need this spot or back up above. Range go away. Yeah, there's been a long lasting range. And then even beyond just the past few weeks, you zoom out, you get onto the daily. Retest of 25K right here. It's that high volume node from yesterday. Patience. Patience key right now. Little rejection there at 25K so far. And almost back into the lows. So potentially another lower high there in the making. About 40 minutes into the sesh. How's everyone's morning so far? How's it looking? 0 for 2 on my end. 0 for 2 NQ fresh lows. So nice little 25K rejection right there. Pretty nice short opportunity. At the level of interest post 10 a.m. Rich caught that. Nice. Very nice. Here's 900. 24 900. No level there personally. Looking for 860, 830 area. Ideal scenario would be undercut of overnight low and then a reclaim of 860 with an entry above 860 for a long. We'll see how it shakes out as price gets into this area. And ES coming into the overnight low as well. ES overnight low looks like 6762. for the S&P traders. Cattrick 1 for 1, but London session. Solid. Solid. Yeah, that overnight session was active. Nasdaq just sitting on value area low, standard hours value area low. Previous bounce point from pre-market from the overnight sesh. No man's land. See this next 15-minute bar. Closing up here in a little less than 90 seconds. Hmm. Cattrick, somehow I just can't wrap my head around ES. That thing is guaranteed to lose me money. Hey, at least you know not to trade it. At least you know not to trade it. I mean, that's pretty much the best thing you can do. There's a Charlie Munger quote that I love. about avoiding failure, and it goes, all I want to know is where I'm going to die, so I never go there. So if that's ES for you, simple. Don't trade it. So that's a big part of the battle of trading. Once you recognize, areas that are problematic for you as a trader, just like avoiding those areas. It's low hanging fruit for improvement. We've talked about it on stream before, but a lot of the clients that I worked with when I was doing one-on-one coaching, there are a few of them, they massively underperformed in like the first 15 minutes of the day or first 30 minutes of the day. And so by just avoiding that period of the day, you can improve your stats by so much. When you actually see that in the data, like, oh, if I had just avoided the first 30 minutes of the day last year, I would have made, X amount of dollars more. It makes it much easier to just avoid that period. It's like this is real money in my pocket by just doing nothing. Not everyone is that self-aware, unfortunately. That's true. That's true. That's very true. But hey, big bucks aren't for everyone. Hate to say it, but that's just facts. But in my opinion, self-awareness is a skill that can be developed. So it's just a matter of how bad do you want it. Josh, that's why you got to log and journal it. Yeah, I'm with you on that. I think a lot of self-awareness can be improved through journaling and logging techniques. But again, it's work. It's work, right? Journaling is definitely work. You got to put in the work. It's got to be done. Something you can work on and be developed. Yeah, 100%. 100%. When you think about it as a skill set, something that can be learned, it makes it much easier to tackle. Capture collecting data is essential, but only a few do it. Yeah, I would agree with both those statements. Even even using like a journaling software, something like Tradezilla or similar, can be so helpful. Like if you, I get it. Everyone is busy, pressed on time. You don't have time to journal. You don't have time to review. If you can just take 5 minutes, 10 minutes, you know, from your day, import your trades to Tradezilla, and kind of just get some notes down, get some thoughts down, look at your results, kind of reflect on them. It's gonna put you so much farther, and that's like minimal effort. Now, if you actually put real effort into it, spend intentional time reviewing and journaling, it's going to put you leaps and bounds ahead. Josh, I think I spend more time on journal than trading. Yeah, heck yeah, that's good. That's a good use of time. NQ still bouncing 24,900 value area low. Extended hours volume point of control just shifted lower. So can we get action above 25K? Rich emulating Andy Elliott and David Goggins for the mind and body helped with trading in life. Yeah, there's a lot of good mindset cues and mindset tips, mindset frameworks that you can pull from other people that aren't even traders that can really help your game. Critique, I think it's not just collecting, you have to kind of internalize while journaling, but truly internalize the essence of your traits that you learned because real awareness in real time comes from that. Yeah, definitely. I mean, if you put more effort into really understanding your thought process in real time when you were taking those trades, that's going to help you even more, right? So the more time you can put into it, the better. But what I'm talking about is most people don't do any at all. So if you can even do a little bit, probably I would say, there's 60 people watching this stream right now. I would bet at least half of them, at least half of you guys are not doing any sort of journaling or review. I could be wrong, but I would definitely bet on that. And if you even did 5 or 10 minutes per day, that would be a massive improvement in your game. So use an app, like use a website like TradeZella. I mean, there's so many of them. Or if you don't want to pay because that is a subscription thing, build out a Notion database, build out an Excel spreadsheet. Like it's a way to actually get better at the craft, actually improve your game. And what does that mean? Improving your trading. Well, at the end of the day, it means better profitability, right? So we're talking about making more money. What does it mean to be a better trader? I mean, at the end of the day, it's making more money or keeping more of the money that you make. Because a lot of times making it is the easy part. Can you hold on to it? Can you keep it on those challenging days? Albert, journaling has been helping me out a lot and keep me off the charts soon as I get out of a winning or losing trade. Solid. Glad to hear it. Moto Goyo. Earlier traders probably better avoiding the trampoline market moves. Clearer trends are better to work with. Means waiting to win. Yeah, I would agree with that. Definitely. Choppier action is inherently more challenging. So NASDAQ back into 25K right here. I like the level. If we see a setup, 30-minute closes in 6 minutes. Notion has a ton of free features. Yeah, Notion's great. Notion is solid. I love Notion. I use Notion for a lot outside of trading too. It's an awesome tool. And now with honestly with like AI tools, you could set up ChatGPT to be like a a psychological trading coach for yourself with the right prompt. You could totally set that up, and it'd probably be half decent, to be honest. For the mental side of things, anyway. Mhm. Does write an RTY long to make up for APT not firing on PTs? APT fired on my end. All good. All three targets secured. YM. I think if you had an issue, what happened, Des? PT2 fired twice or what? At the end of the day, clear it off the chart and add it back. It sounds like a bug because I'm looking at mine right now and it's all three targets secured. Yeah, clear it off. Clear it off, delete it off your chart. Not right now, but after the close and add it back. Give yourself a little reset. Particularly if you really want to do it, even Excel can work wonders. Yeah, I mean, whatever tool you end up using, Excel, Notion, TradeZilla, set it up with ChatGPT or whatever. The idea is to actually just do something. Do something. So I wouldn't say that one is better than another. There's going to be some tools that are more robust that can give you better data filtering. Things like TradeZilla, of course, but it's pay to play. The one I used to use before TradeZilla was even out, it's called Trader View. I think, yeah, Trader View. That was back in the options days. Really good software. It's all web based. Upload your trades there. And using tools like that really helped me very early in my journey find the weak points because you can, again, you can filter based on certain tags that you give to trades. You can filter based on time of day. That was eye opening. We talk about it a lot on this stream, but that was an eye opening one for me. Seeing time of day performance. So that's a big one. But point is, do some review. Do something. So Nasdaq trading above 25K here. I'd like to see more of an extension above 25K and then an entry near 25K. I've already been chopped twice at 25K. So just staying patient right now. 0 for 2 on the morning. That's the morning so far. Losses are part of the game. Controlled losses. That's what we care about. Is it controlled? Is it well defined? So the 15 and 30 minute are getting ready to close. 30-minute did not quite get into that 860 area I was looking for. Micro little retest and bounce. A little too shallow for me right there, but that's good to see. Like to see bullish response to 25K. I'm now getting back into this 45, 50 area. Intraday resistance plus prior day high. You're looking like my husband? Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. What are we talking about here? A man of many Yeti cups. That's true. That's true. 25K on watch. This volume. This volume is not, it's not that exciting. It's not that favorable. Critique CPI tomorrow. That's a good reminder. That's a great reminder. Yeah, very well. I mean, CPI tomorrow, yesterday's massive expansion day. Very well could be an inside day. I'm gonna keep it going for at least another 30. Right. Price is right near my area of interest here. So all right, Ethan. We'll see you tomorrow, man. Take care. There's prior day high. Oh, ES marked a session high. A little bounce versus overnight low. No spring set up there on ES, but a new high of day nonetheless. Just waiting for an entry now. Just waiting for that entry. NASDAQ almost into session highs. A little more than 1 hour into the sesh. Pretty slow morning so far, below average volume. NQ has spent more than 90% of this session so far within the prior day's range. Almost got into that 860, but not quite. Price bounce versus value area low and the 24,900. 00 psychological level. Those sellers didn't even have the juice to push it into that level. Roberto Huck listed 25K. Do you need it for an entry? So proximity to level is always a function of risk. I like to set risk below the location, right? So for example, right now, let's say I want to risk 25K. If I enter right here, price is at 70. I'd have to put my stop down beneath 25K, right? So depending on where the structure materializes and how much risk is at play will determine if I take the trade or not. Closer, it's always better, right? Gives you tighter risk points. NASDAQ new high of day. ES is coming up into the prior day high. And now NQ is getting into the 25,100 resistance zone. Thanks. So it looks like that was the entry. That's unfortunate. Clearing the prior day high. Yeah, up and through. You have a lot of resistance in this red zone here with overnight high up at 150. Can see all the resistance there pretty plainly on the 2-hour chart. Jeff 1 for 2 calling it here. All right, man. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you. We'll see you tomorrow. And here's 25, 100 on NASDAQ. We'll see if an entry materializes. It might be closer to 11 that entry comes. There's ES looking above the prior day high. All right, Albert. Take care, man. 3 for 3 calling it a day. Nice work. That's a solid day there. So far, no re-entry on my end. The higher time frame idea that I was looking for this morning starting to play out now. Just a little bit too early with it. So still 0 for 2. We'll see if we get another entry. Otherwise, just take the red day. Renee, is the overnight high and low automatically rounded? No, it should be exact values. Yeah, so if we zoom out here, it's just gonna print it wherever it actually materializes. That's the indicator, the PTG reference points pro for Traders Think Tank members. So yeah, that just automatically plots it there on the chart for me. There were many years where I manually plotted everything, but I got tired of doing that. So I had this built out, and it saves me a little time every morning. Plus, it's nice when I toggle onto another asset I can just quickly see the reference points that I want to see. So right now, looking to see how ES treats prior to AI, and then NQ treats this resistance zone here. NQ pulling in a little bit. Your exact chart setup, including the indicators, is available for the Think Tank members for free. Is there a guide on how to set it up? Yes, and yes. So when you're looking at the Traders Think Tank, on the left-hand side, click on Resources, scroll down a little bit, and you're going to see PTG chart setup / indicators. Click on that, and there's a full setup right in there. Alternatively, if you need help with any specific indicator, send Misha a message and he'll get you set up. NASDAQ fresh highs, ES fresh highs. Like to see what the next 10 minutes are looking like with price in this resistance zone. About it very well might just be a red day here. Patience. Patience is key right now with this volume. Below average all day. Overnight high is 150.5. About 30 points away right now. It's getting there. It is working on that overnight high. Look at that hourly bar. 30-minute bar showing really nice follow through on that previous hammer. So price got pretty close to some overnight support here. Sets up the hammer above 25K. Hammer shows good follow through into this overnight structure high. Now the question is, does price break higher and go for last week's high up at 250? Is that the late morning move here on no volume? Okay. So just a little blip away from the overnight high. ES is up and through prior day high and working on the overnight high. Basically, for late morning, what I want to see is if price can sustain above this zone, this red zone with the overnight high included, and continue into last week's high. That was kind of the idea outlined in this morning's pre-market prep notes. And really, buyers will want to sustain price above prior day high. So 25,058 is the hold above level, if you ask me. So 11 a.m. in less than 2 minutes. Let's see. See if we get a little boost of activity. Critiquing that was the only entry, but I didn't like the location with the rejection at open. Which entry? Which entry are we talking about? Oh, above 25K. Yeah, so I was looking at this. I mean, technically I can get in there, but it's just so aggressive. I'd like to see more of an extension and then a pullback, right? So you have more structure to work with. I mean, this could have just been recency bias on my part because I'm 0 for 2 on the day. But yeah, passed on that. I mean, that's my level. Just how the structure developed there was not ideal, especially with the volume. So it is what it is. That's trading. That's trading for you. And then down near the lows, like down at 900, I can't set risk against value area low on its own. We did have a psychological level right through there, but that's just not my trade. Especially with my true level of interest, not that far beneath. So I'd rather just wait. So that's ruled out. There's no trade there. Probably one of the easier setups this morning is the 25K short. Nice structure to work with, good level. I like that play. NASDAQ up and through overnight high. Patrick, what counts as overnight high low? I go the entire Globex session. The whole thing from 6 p.m. to 9:30 a.m. That whole thing for me is overnight session. Overnight pre-market, interchangeable terms. So basically from yesterday 6 p.m. when it opens to this morning's RTH open. Yeah, I don't segment the Asia, London. I know some traders that do, but personally that's just it. For me it's just a degree of noise that is I don't find it necessary. So NQ, look at the volume coming in now right at 11, like clockwork. And this thing, look at the 5 minute. They do not, this is what I call a lockout rally. What am I gonna do with this? What there's not even a red 5-minute bar since 900. 300-point move. Like I can't do anything. It's a runaway train. Wide swings are not allowed for entry, and if an entry presents location is not good. Yeah, man, this is a market of doing less, market of staying patient. At least recent environment, recent regime. What a, I mean, what a move. Jeez, you get little 1 minute pullbacks. It'll just a 1 minute red bar, and then buyers just absorb. Buyers just gobble that up. Parabolic, yeah, seriously. Seriously, parabolic on the 1 minute, and then you zoom out. It's like sideways. A lifetime of sideways. Critique taken off. All right, man. We'll see you tomorrow. Post CPI. CPI should give us some good action. I'll definitely be ready. The red folder, post red folder news can give you some really nice setups. So I'll be watching. I will certainly be watching for that. NASDAQ starting to pull in a little bit. ES just looked above overnight high, potentially an overnight high up thrust there. Rich, will we see a retest of the overnight high? I mean, it's retesting now, but I mean, look at this is like so shallow. It's just it's tough. It's tough, Like I want to buy a do I want to buy a 30-point pullback after what was this 300 points? Yeah, 300-point rip. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I want some more depth. 25,100. I would look at prior day high. I would look at 25K. I would look at. We have more volume coming in right now. You have ES pulling back in a prior day high as well. Probably a whole lot of profit taken in this area. Yeah, that wouldn't surprise me at all. So next upside level from here is last week's high at 250. Let's see how 100 is going to be treated. Volume improvement, helpful. Where even is the shallow fib for this thing? I just had it up. Didn't make a mental note. 38 is down near prior day high. Where's the 23? 23 is at 113. Okay. ES with a really nice upthrust. If you wanted to short, look at this. Doesn't get much better than that for upthrust. Look above, reject. Pretty nice. For the upthrust, the UPT upthrust. So no entry on that entire rally there. Still 0 for 2 this morning. Big picture game plan worked nicely, but like we were talking about actually before the open, execution's a different story, right? Execution is a totally different story. Rich, you got the short. Nice. Good work. Putting in work on that XFA, huh? Oh, you locked it? Okay. Solid. Solid. Even still, just getting those reps in. So a little retest into overnight high. See if this rejects. Yeah, a little rejection there at overnight high. So a little micro lower high. I'd love to see one more entry, one more attempt for the long setup. ES almost into prior day high. Another little retest of overnight high. Oil continues to puke, down 11%. Hmm. Price reclaiming overnight high. And ES coming back into session highs as well. Ketrick took a stab at the reclaim. Nice little break of structure play right there. Not bad. ES likely the better opportunity through there. Through that pullback. The prior day high retest. NASDAQ, I wanted a little more depth, right? I was talking about 25,100. It's not really seeing that depth on some of these pullbacks. It's getting front run. Levels are getting front run. Didn't even hit the 23.6. Yeah, these pullbacks are just so shallow. And Q loves the shallow pullbacks once it's moving. Yeah, I personally don't mind shallow pullbacks in the right context. In a trending market, in a buyer's market, I don't mind grabbing those shallow pullbacks, but this is a range. So it's tough for me to grab those. I don't expect them to actually hold. Plus, might be a little bit of recency bias there as well. 0 for 2 on the morning. Don't want to press my luck with what I would later in my review deem as a lower quality op. If I was nicely green on the day, and you can just risk some of your profits from the sesh, that's a different story entirely. No new high made on that push. How was everyone's morning? We're 2 hours in. It's getting to be about time to call it here. Everyone have a good morning. A good morning, remember, is defined by whether you respect your rules. So, not necessarily defined by the outcome. If you respected your rules, if you followed your process, you had a good morning. That's how we look at it. V-Link 1 for 2, but still green. Good risk management. Mike red 3 for 3. 0 for 3, I think you mean. Matt green so far by a bit. Not much here to work with. Agreed. Catrick 2 for 2 and now out. Nice. Rich, good morning. Fumbled a little, but recovered. Solid. Solid, solid, solid. Josh sitting with the 1 scalp still. Nice. Good discipline. Good patience. So for late morning, I'm going to be keeping an eye on this red zone here. I want to see if price can continue to show acceptance. Basically above 25,100. And if so, I would expect price to trade up into last week's high. That would be the primary focus. For me personally, 0 for 2. Took those 2 trades on stream this morning. Both longs versus 25K. Both stopped out. After that, did not see a re-entry. Have not seen another setup that I loved. So we'll take it. We'll take the red day. We'll just call it right there. Thank you guys for your time. Tomorrow CPI. I'll definitely be watching post CPI for any opportunities in the Traders Think Tank. And then we will be live tomorrow morning as well. Hope you guys had a solid day. And we will see you tomorrow. Take care.